Hi, folks. We are about to get started. Sorry for the late start. We had a little bit of tech issues, but that's just normal here. Um, Bear with us as we try to get the Instagram. Okay, Instagram connected fast today and stuff, and we should be up and running soon. As soon as we can. Oh, yep, there we go. We are officially live. Perfect. All right. Welcome to the Chit Chat, guys. I am your host, Maddie, and would you like to introduce yourself?
I would. I'm Steve McKinley. It's good to be with you this evening.
Yes, she's one of our favorite guests here on the Chit Chat. And tonight we'll be talking about WWJD, which is these bracelets that people wear as part of our Christian culture series where we explore trends among Christians, especially as young adult Christians and stuff, and how they impact our faith. So, to get started, what do WWJD and the HWLF bracelet stand for, and what are their purposes?
Well, the WWJD, I remember from several years ago, probably before you were born. I don't know, Maddie, but it was What Would Jesus Do? And I had to look up the other one because I didn't remember that one. But HWLF is He Would Love First. And so that's kind of cool to be able to think about that. But I think in general, their purposes are to help people remember their faith and remember perhaps when they have that they're wearing it, they might be able to think a little bit more carefully about what they say or do before they say or do it. And I think that can be a positive thing in general for folks that are practicing their faith.
All right. Yes, definitely WWJD and HLWF bracelets. I think they made a comeback a couple years ago because I remember like they were really popular a few years ago too. Like I had an HWLF bracelet.
Okay,
So yeah,
cool.
I think these bracelets have been around for a while, but I think it's really cool how they have come back. It's like one of the trends that have come back for young adult Christians and has
It's
many people have more and stuff. And like there's a lot of places that sell these if you look online. Um, So, why do you think like these bracelets and other forms of like Christian fashion are so popular, like shirts, hats, necklaces, etc.? And how do they impact people's faith journeys?
I think they may be popular because we like to be able to express our faith in different ways. We like to be able to share what we believe. And this is one rather simple way to be able to do that. The way that it impacts us, I think, again, it just helps us to be able to maybe have a little bit of an opening in the door to be able to talk with someone about our faith and to be able to share what we believe, to share about Jesus, to share about God. And that anytime that happens, that strengthens our faith, I think, too, as well as those that we're talking with.
Exactly. JJ is on the live stream on the Instagram, and she says the one and only Steve. Hi JJ, thank you for joining us tonight. And as a reminder to everyone, please comment. We love talking about you because the chit chat is a discussion for not just between me and Steve, but for everyone involved. So if any questions or comments or any answers to our questions, please post them down below or prayer concerns or anything. We would love to talk with you. So I think as like you said, like it is really popular to show our faith and like that's something that as Christians we're called to do. We're called to share our faith because as like there's a Bible verse it's like Jesus said that we are like a city on a hill. We're not meant to hide our light. And we're not like a
Hmm.
candle. You don't hide a candle under a bowl. You let it shine out. So that's what we're supposed to do as Christians. Like a lot of people wear the Christian stuff not only as a reminder to themselves, but a reminder to others, other faith, and helps start
Yes.
conversations. Like for me, the W, like I had the HWLF bracelet. I still have it. I don't know where it went, but it's somewhere. But like I still wear fake bracelets like these ones, like the duck ones have gone really popular. I've got a couple of them and stuff. Just like daily reminders for myself, but also there are like conversation starters. I've had like someone actually like look at my bracelets one time and ask me like, "Oh, what does HWF stand for?" I'm like, "Oh, he would love first." Like it's the answer to WWJD. So this is a reminder that like my as a we're called to be like Jesus, and that I should first respond with love before all else. Um, so, looking at our Bible verse today, which is Luke 9:23 through 26, then he said to them all, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny himself and take up their cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world and yet lose or forfeit their very self? Whoever is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his glory and the glory of the Father and the holy angels. So, how do these bracelets relate to our Bible verses today?
Well, let's see. I think we're not denying Jesus when we have those on. That's an expression of our faith again. We're not trying to focus as much on the world, but instead of on what God wants us to do. Um, and we're showing that we're not ashamed of that faith that we do have. And so it's not a be all end all, but it certainly is one way that we can be able to show that we do have that faith.
Yes, exactly how I thought too while I was reading these Bible verses. Because, as we said, like being a Christian is more than just saying, "Oh, we believe in Christ." You are a follower of Christ. You have to be a disciple of Christ. You have to follow Him every day. And pick up your cross means showing the whole world that you're willing to go to the end to be His believer. You're willing to be humiliated. You're willing to put God before everything else in your life. You're willing to
Mhm.
like take that leap of faith. So I think those bracelets help as a service daily reminder of not only like how would Jesus approach the situation. So a lot of times in life we get into a situation where it's not black and white. It's very gray.
Right.
But having a little reminder of how we should respond and who we should turn to when we're faced with those questions makes I think a big impact not only on yourself but also like I said they can be conversation starters for others. And
Hmm.
continuing on with like how this proclaims our faith, do you think that these like clothes and accessories actually do help promote the gospel, or is it just a sign of performative faith? And what are some dangers of just casually wearing these clothing and jewelry without actually putting the work in to be a follower of Christ?
I think one of the common criticisms of Christians in general is that we are considered hypocritical, that we do things that maybe we shouldn't do, or we say one thing and do another. And when we're wearing something like a bracelet like that, or if we have a cross around our neck for a necklace, if we have a bumper sticker on our car and we do something that's not necessarily appropriate or not a Christ-like thing to do, then that really shines a bad light on our faith and shines a bad light on ourselves as well. And so that is a danger. If you're practicing as a Christian, then you know you're not going to be perfect, but you want to do the best that you can. And we don't want to do anything that's going to turn people off from our faith or from exploring their own faith in Jesus. And so I think that is something that we just need to be really careful of when we do that.
Exactly. Something that Kira has once said to me and that like I think about a lot is that like we may be the only Bible someone reads. Right. Like
Hmm.
someone may never get a chance to read a Bible or go to church, but they get to see how we are and how we act towards them and others. And if we like show like poor judgment and poor decisions and a very un-Christ-like behavior, then that can turn someone off from the gospel and the way of Jesus.
Yes.
And like it's sad that so many people have met Christians like that, have met been traumatized by the church. It's a real thing. But I think instead of, you know, being on the defense, we need to be honest about it. Like
Right.
everyone's a hypocrite. No one lives up to their own
We are.
standards. And especially Jesus standards. Like no one can be exactly like Jesus. It's impossible. But I think if we're honest about it, and we're honest about our struggles with outsiders, with outside the church and within the church, then having that honesty is what can bring people to God. Like me, admit like, hey,
Mhm.
like I'm a sinner, I struggle, but you need to meet this guy because
Yep.
my life is nothing without him. He's the one who redeemed me. Like I have changed. Yes, I still struggle. Yes, I do this, but I know that he has my back at the end of the day. And that I think is a more powerful way to reach others and stuff. But
I
I
think
think
it definitely is, and we talk about that performative faith. Is it something that's sincere? Is it something that we're just doing for a social appearance? And each of us has to make that own judgment call ourselves for what we're really doing when we wear a bracelet or have a necklace on, something like that. But um, even if it isn't um, fully devotion, I guess it's still a way that we can share about Jesus, even if because the other people don't necessarily know that. So if they see that, then that raises at least questions in their mind about, oh, this person is interested in something that maybe I may or may not know about, and if I don't, maybe I'd like to know a little bit more about it. So again, I don't think it's a bad thing. We just need to be cautious as we're doing that.
100%. Also, like looking at like your intention of wearing it. Are you wearing it just because, oh, I'm a Christian, this is a cute shirt, I'm gonna wear it so others see that I'm a Christian? Or am I doing this because I want people to think I'm righteous or,
Hmm.
have high morals? Or you're intentionally doing it because that's what God called you to do. That's what
Right.
you should, like as a Christian, like as a Christ follower, you should be doing. So I think like if you're gonna wear that stuff, like you have to have the mindset of I'm wearing this to show others my faith and to remind myself to
Hmm.
help, like, to work towards every day coming like Christ. But if you don't have that intention, then that's the real danger because it can actually put people off from the gospel as well
Right.
as hurt your own faith.
And that's the other thing we're called to be is to be humble, right? And not to draw attention to ourselves. And if that's the only reason we're doing that, then that really, again, goes against what we're taught to do as followers of Jesus. So you're right. We need to think about those intentions and do our best to make sure that they're honorable.
Yeah. And like if you think about like going in the Bible, we see the Pharisees dress a certain way, to show
Mhm.
others that they had higher, social standing. Like, oh, they're righteous men, they're holy men, right? And they loved the attention they got from it. So
They
are
did.
you like so you have to think of the mindset of like, am I being someone whose heart is hardened? I'm doing this just to appear righteous to others, just to um fit in with the Christian crowd or whatever? Or am I truly doing this because I want the whole world to know I'm a Christian? Or I want to know who this Jesus guy is around me. So yeah, I think
And
that's
those
really important.
And those religious leaders back in Jesus' day also made it a point to judge others who weren't as good as they were, or as dressed as nicely as they were, or as wise as they were. And I think, again, that's not something we're called to do. We're not called to judge others. We are called to be humble and are called to help others and to show them the love that Jesus had shown to us.
Yeah, it makes me think back to a quote from Martin Luther. I had it, I forget where I had it on. I quoted it on different, like Chit Chat a long time ago. But the summary of the quote was something along the lines of, "Don't matter, like, it doesn't matter what someone wears, where they are, what they drink or eat. As long as their heart belongs to Jesus, nothing else matters." And we see that,
Right.
like, Jesus says that. I forget where either, but it's like, um, I am the shepherd and these are my sheep. Like, no one can take the sheep from my hands.
Hmm.
Like, no, or from the Father, right? And this is the whole idea is that if your heart truly belongs to Jesus, nothing else like really matters. Yes, you should, dress a certain way. Like you should, present yourself as a Christian to others, but it isn't in the end, that's it. Your actions can't get you into heaven. It's all what
Right.
Jesus did. So
Exactly.
you have to have that mindset when with others and stuff. Interacting just because someone's not wearing a cross or someone's not wearing a faith bracelet
Hmm.
or t-shirt or hat and they might be dressed a certain way doesn't mean they're not Christian. Doesn't mean their heart's not
Exactly.
towards God. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes we get so stuck on appearances. Like, oh, this person is as righteous as I am because they aren't dressed like, or that person is more righteous than me. They're more worthy because they're like this. They do this. In the end, it doesn't matter because all what our heart is and our intentions are.
I agree with you.
All right. I feel like we spent a lot of time with that question. That was a pretty low question.
That's okay. It's a good
So
one.
it was yeah. Yeah. So flipping back to the bracelets. Um it's asking the question, what would Jesus do, the right question to ask when facing a certain situation? Or are there other questions Christians should ask themselves when faced with a decision?
I guess I would initially say that it's not a wrong question to ask, but someone sometime recently also shared another way to ask that question, and I liked it. And it was, "What would Jesus have me do?" So putting it from Jesus's perspective, I can't necessarily know exactly what Jesus would do. I can see what he did when he was here on earth, and I can see what's in the Bible or read what's in the Bible about him. But if I think about it, if I'm asking Jesus and God for guidance, and he's giving me that guidance, so what is it that he would have me do in that situation? How does he want me to respond? Because it's me. It's me in that situation right then. It's me that's facing that situation. It's me that has the opportunity to help spread the message, to help a person that maybe is in need. And so, what is it that Jesus wants me to do? I think is another good question to ask ourselves.
Yes, or like what would God think of my actions or something like
Hmm.
that framing
Yeah.
that like not as catchy, right? As so no JD.
No, it doesn't
Yeah.
fit on a wristband very well, but yeah.
Yeah. But is this something God has called me to do?
Mhm.
Like, is this a loving action? Is this I hate to use the word righteous, but like you're right, like, am I doing good? Am I doing evil or am I failing to do good?
Mhm.
Because sometimes we forget that we think like, oh, is this action evil or good? But really there's a third option. Am I failing to do good?
Right.
Yeah.
We're not
And
taking action when we have the ability to take action. That's also not appropriate. So we need to be able to do what it is that God has provided us the opportunities to do. We need to take that action. You're absolutely right.
exactly, like because like that's actually one of the definitions of sin is the failure of doing good. I mean, if you look at the original Hebrew, there were like so many words for sin actually, but the most commonly used one was literally translated to missing the mark,
Hmm.
and we see that throughout the Bible. Like if you look at King Saul, that's a sin he committed a lot. He did
He
disobey
did.
God, but he would try to do something thinking it was what God wanted, but he was missing the mark constantly.
Right.
And that's what ruined his relationship with God and stuff. So
And with
there's other
David and
things
with
like
lots of
that.
people, right?
Yeah, a lot of people. I think that's something like it's a sin so easy to fall into. Especially because
Hmm.
like if you're in that righteous mindset of like I can't go to this place because these people are not holy or like they're the wrong crowd or I can't associate with these people, right? Because others would think I'm like them. When in the reality, those are probably the people that need Jesus the most.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Like if you're in a conversation with someone new and Jesus gets brought up, are you going to take the opportunity to hopefully plant a seed or are you going to shy away from the topic if it gets brought up? So, I think that's all important questions. But I definitely think like going back to bracelets, like having those like shirts and t-shirts on you is a wonderful way to start a conversation with someone.
It does. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And there's some really cool T-shirts out there that have some really neat sayings that just kind of again lend themselves to that conversation that you might not otherwise have. So
yeah,
yeah, I think it's a good thing to be able to do that.
yeah. Like you'll be surprised like how simple wearing a cross necklace can start a conversation with chasing
Hmm.
someone. I know I've been like complimented so many times for just my cross necklace. And that see
Yep.
that knows to someone that brings someone to ice to cross. So like you can just be a walking symbol of Jesus in your life.
Well,
I guess
yeah.
I feel like you may not interact with that person, just them seeing that could be a seed plant or just a reminder for them
I
and
think
stuff.
it also helps them to be a little bit more comfortable realizing that somebody else is there that also shares a faith that perhaps they have that they aren't as comfortable sharing yet or just aren't sure. If you're someone that they want to talk to and they see that, no, that's a pretty good indication that maybe they have similar beliefs as we do.
Exactly, because like talking to new people is scary. It
Hmm. Can
really is.
be.
As someone with social anxiety, it is. Um, but like seeing other people, wearing that and stuff, it does make you a lot more comfortable, I think. Especially if you were like you're looking to start a conversation with someone. Like definitely a great way. So going to like the he would love first bracelets, do you think
Hmm.
that he would love first applies to any situation we face, or are there other like same like kind of similar question? Like, are there any other answers that we should remind ourselves when we are in a situation, or just need a reminder daily?
Well, I think Jesus did try to love first. I do also think that um, he he shared some of that information in ways that maybe from the outside wouldn't appear to be as loving because he was obviously perfect. He was very righteous, and if he saw people that were doing things that were not appropriate, um, he called them out. He overturned the money changers in the temple. He was angry with some folks. But he did that, I think, out of love for them, recognizing that they weren't understanding how God loved, and they were trying to be able to share. He was trying to be able to share with them ways that they could do better. So I think that kind of gets into the sin aspect as well. You know, we don't want to condone sin. So if we see something that someone's doing that is not right, that we think is that clearly says in the Bible that you're not supposed to do these things, in a non-judgmental way, I think we need to find ways that we can help them perhaps turn from their ways. And I think that's partly what God has called us to do as Christians, is to be able to help others who may or may not be believers, but still who are straying from the path, to help them get back on the right path. And so, um, yes, we need to love them. It might not look exactly like what people think of as love, at least initially.
Exactly, because like sometimes you need tough love,
You need some very tough love, right?
and Jesus was like the master of tough love. If we see throughout the Bible,
Mhm.
like the amount of times he called out Peter, but Peter needed it, like because
Quite a bit.
Jesus knew his potential. Because obviously, I mean,
Well, no,
Jesus is God. He can see like what Peter could be, but he
right.
knew he needed some discipline to get there. Because this, I believe that discipline is still love. It was done with like
Hmm.
obviously with loving intention. And so, and yes, we are called to be gentle, but sometimes
How about
like
Jesus' interaction with Saul, who became
exactly.
Paul?
I
You know,
mean,
that was pretty harsh. He came down and blinded the guy for a while, but it got his attention and it made him turn into someone that was an incredible Christian moving forward.
yes. Also, if anyone has any prayer concerns, please post them in the chat. We love to pray for you this week. Because we only have like two more questions coming up before we wrap up tonight.
And if there's anybody on Facebook, I can't get it to come up, so I don't know if it's on Facebook tonight or not. So if they are trying to do that, don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
let me see that. We should be on Facebook, but we had troubles last
um,
week. So,
it's
Facebook
not
folks,
showing up where I'm looking at.
I apologize for what was going on. It says it's connected on my end, but like last
Okay.
week, it wasn't connecting.
Yeah, I don't see it. Don't see it. Anyway, another verse
Thank
that
you,
I
Greg.
found in preparation for this was 1 Corinthians 16:13. Talks about being on your guard, stand firm in your faith, be courageous and be strong. And I think that also kind of lends itself to that last question. That's something that Jesus did all the time. He was always on guard. If Satan tried to tempt him in the desert, with food, with power, whatever he was being tempted with, he was able to stand very firm. Loving, yes, but very firm, very courageous, and very strong. And that's what we're called to be as well. One of the Actually, this past weekend at youth group, the message that Luke led the students through was based on Joshua 1:9, where it talks about being strong and courageous. Don't be afraid, don't be discouraged, for the Lord your God is going to be with you wherever you go. And I thought that was one that really, again, shows that in Joshua's case, he was trying to lead the Israelites into the promised land, and they had already proven how um, unfaithful they could be to God over the previous 40 plus years. And so he's trying to get them all corralled to go into the promised land, has to go through the River Jordan. And that river is one that's going to open up just like the Red Sea did for the Israelites to get out of Egypt. But the people had to take the first step. The priests that were leading the charge had to put their foot into the water. And somebody had to go first. Somebody had to have that courage to go first before the waters would stop and the land would dry up so people could go across and and get into that promised land. So Knowing that our faith is faith. Sometimes we have to really take that first step when we're not quite sure what's going on. And I think, again, that's a way that that God shows us love. He provides us ways through those things, but it's not what some people would necessarily consider a loving action.
Yeah. So I saw a pure reminder from Facebook. It says it's working from the Vim. Wait,
Okay. Well,
wait.
if it is, happy